I think I did very good. I can give this an A performance because it's not too much damage I took from this fight. I did use my reach like everybody wants me to always. I think listening and sticking to the plan gives me that A performance.
Man, that dude need to be 86 for the division. He way too tall. I'm sorry, they need to calibrate them scales. I don't know how he making them weight classes. It is not fair.
Chico.
It is not fair.
So he beats Zoo, and then he beats, Thurman, who's been very inactive, moved up in weight, and was a huge underdog for those reasons. So let him beat somebody maybe a little bit of a higher level of thought before you go too crazy.
Sebastian Fundora has responded to criticism following his win over Keith Thurman, stating that he simply used his natural height and reach to his advantage, just as any fighter would. Fundora also made it clear that he doesn't believe the fight was stopped too early, insisting the referee made the correct decision.
Was talking about the fight maybe being stopped prematurely. Did you feel that way being in there with him? Did you feel like you had sufficiently damaged him and that he was on his last legs?
I didn't think it was stopped prematurely. I thought it was stopped at the right time because as soon as that eye cut open, the doctor was already looking at that eye, and it was all purple. As soon as we stepped into the 6th round, I knew I had to bust it open, and it happened with one of the first punches. But me as a person, as a human being, I wouldn't want him to take any more damage. But this is boxing, so it's not up to me.
And out of all the guys in the division, is there any one of them that you want the most?
Not really. I think I'm the best. I think they all need to come.
However, Keith Thurman criticized the referee for stopping the fight too early, insisting he was still in control and capable of turning things around. He argued the bout was just becoming competitive and believed he only needed a few more rounds to mount a comeback and potentially secure the win.
He definitely trained hard. He has that conditioning. He's a volume puncher. And, I think it's just that little bit of a press that he was putting on that, let that referee feel, the way that he felt to jump in. But, he was pressing. He was opening up. He was starting to throw wide. And that's where, the veteran has an opportunity to shine. I'm telling you, man, the fans were loving it. The action was getting real. There was no need to just stop it right then and right there, But, once again, I'm not that beat up. I can fight more, and we'll see what happens, man. But it was a good fight. I wanted a great fight, and I think if it went just a few more minutes, something great would happen. Or maybe I would have got dropped, and then, at the end of the day, I can accept a true defeat. But defeat on top of defeat, it just doesn't feel right, man. It's very unfortunate because I've never been stopped in my career, not in the amateurs, not in the pros. So just a referee depicting my future like that, I don't like it.
Some observers believe Keith Thurman deserved more time to prove himself. Given his status as a former world champion, they feel he had the ability to turn the fight around if allowed to continue.
WBC 154-pound champ, the tallest champion in all of boxing, active champion, Sebastian Fundora at 6'6", 154 pounds, defended his title in an impressive performance versus former world champion, welterweight champion, Keith one-time Thurman. And in the lead up to this fight, Bud, there was a lot of talk about Thurman's inactivity, Thurman's injuries, and then the size difference. Could Thurman use angles and movement to get Fundora's feet crossed up or off balance and then look to be effective in spots, maybe with the left hook? He tried. Keith Thurman came there to win. He gave it his all, but in the end, Fundora was too much. The punches, the leverage, the volume, you name it. He gets the stoppage. A lot of people out there are not thrilled with the stoppage. Referee Taylor stopped the fight. I thought it was a little premature, especially when you're talking about a former world champion in Keith Thurman. You give him a little more opportunity. But where the fight was leading, the way it felt like the stoppage was coming and probably inevitable. In the end, again, very impressive performance by Fundora.
Renowned trainer and analyst Teddy Atlas also weighed in on the controversy, admitting he wasn't a fan of the stoppage. While acknowledging that Keith Thurman was taking damage, Atlas suggested the referee may have acted a bit too quickly.
I didn't love the stoppage with the referee. I thought the referee, look, he was compassionate. He did the right thing, right? He protected the fighter, but he protected himself a little bit too because it was looking a little bit bad there. But I wasn't thrilled with the referee stopping it, I'll tell you right now. But it's awful hard to argue strongly against it because he was getting busted up. It was a whitewash. It was one-way traffic. It didn't look like he had answers. He had the right idea, but it wasn't being executed. The idea was to move, use his athleticism, move side to side, keep Fundora moving his feet, switching his stances, and then get in, jump in, move in, close in real quick, and attack when Fundora wasn't ready to punch.
Teddy Atlas pointed back to Sebastian Fundora's earlier bout with Tim Tszyu, where Tszyu suffered a severe head cut from an accidental elbow and continued fighting with impaired vision for much of the contest. The controversy surrounding that fight led some fans to question Fundora's tactics and even his gloves, although the injury was widely regarded as accidental rather than intentional misconduct.
Fundora. But before we go too crazy, remember the guys that he's beaten recently. He beat Costas, he beat, what's his name, Zoo. He beat Zoo, who he had beaten once before in a controversial fight where Zoo was bleeding very badly. And before he fought him in a rematch, Zoo had been knocked out. So he beats Zoo, and then he beats, Thurman, who's been very inactive, moved up in weight, and was a huge underdog for those reasons. So let him beat somebody maybe a little bit of a higher level of thought before you go too crazy. But I agree, he has improved since you won the title.
Sebastian Fundora's exceptional height and reach give him a clear physical advantage over most fighters in the 154 pounds division. Standing around 6 feet 5 inches with an 80-inch reach, he often towers over his opponents, allowing him to control distance, land punches from range, and create extremely difficult matchups.
Keith Thurman, bludgeoned, battered, bruised, didn't knock him down, but did everything else. Man, talk to us about the matchup.
Keith Thurman had a hill to climb. You know what I'm saying? That's the thing with Fundora. And man, that layoff didn't help him. Man, like I was just telling my boy Ramon, I was thinking he should have fought our boy first. Should have fought Charlo first. I would like to see that first. Maybe scrap the whole thing. They tried to make this thing twice and it didn't go. So I think Fundora should have been held up. He should have been put with somebody else, even though I think he hurt himself the second time. So the first time Keith Thurman hurt himself, then the second time, boom, and then boy hurt himself. But it was a good fight, man. Keith Thurman, he showed his heart, he showed his guts. You know what I'm saying? He landed some shots in between, and but they didn't face Fundora.
Sebastian Fundora made it clear that his win over Keith Thurman wasn't just about size or physical advantages. He emphasized that he had spent months preparing intensely for the fight. Fundora highlighted the hard work, strategy, and disciplined training behind his performance, making it clear that his victory was the result of dedicated preparation, not just natural attributes.